Hello everybody, I hope I'm online. I think I'm online. I have there we go, two laptops and a phone, and I believe I'm live on YouTube as well. That's certainly the plan. YouTube followers, I am here in Galway City. So welcome to this live chat with me. So I'm going to try and do basically some chats with people live on Facebook, and I have spent literally the last 2 days in a ball of sweat, as they say, trying to figure out how to do it properly and get audio and everything working in the same place. I hope everybody is well. We're in Galway City. I'm here with my wife and Gillian and my son Matthew and our dog Stampy. They're out for a walk right now. They will be home shortly, and I might try and coerce them into saying hello when they get back. But we're well hunkered down in Galway, no more than the rest of the world right now. Everybody's on lockdown. Yesterday was the most stringent kind of thing that came in, so no essential travel. School is closed, which my son was over the moon at. I'm sure most kids were, and yeah. So we're very, very lucky. We have a lovely garden here where we live in Galway, so we've been spending a lot of time outside. We live very close to Connemara as well, so we just jump in the car. And so it's very easy to find a really lonely bog road to go for a walk. So social distancing or public distancing is pretty easy if you drive about 7 minutes from my house. You wouldn't see anyone, which suits me at the best of times. So I've got my live stream on this laptop. I see comments on this side, so I'm just going to say hello there. I see Andrew Cook and Sullivan, Bridget Thornton from Chicago. Hi to everybody. Basically, if you have questions or anything like that, do put them up here. I have a couple of things planned for the hour. I'm not going to play the banjo, and most of you will be highly relieved with that, because, I mean, I wouldn't listen to solo banjo. So who would? The odd bing will be my Facebook messages, which I can't seem to mute. So if there's any technological geniuses out there that are able to turn off the beeping sound, that's just part of being on live video on Facebook and on multiple thingamajigs at the same time. So let's go to this. This will generally take me a minute or two to try and figure out, but I have somebody lined up. So if you just bear with me while I try to dial them in, and we'll see what happens if this works. All right.
How's it going?
Now, I'm going to try and get you on the screen first, so just bear with me.
Okay.
Here we go. That's going to look mental. Okay. And
can I start playing on more filters here and put on some sort of horns on my head or something?
there you are. So now, here we are with Shane Hayes from Socks in the Frying Pan.
Hello.
Very, very famous all over the world as an accordion player. And really only in County Clare in Ireland then.
Really, that's all. Yeah. And even in only parts of Clare.
Very select parts of Clare where they tolerate the accordion.
I love it down here.
So anyone that follows wEBanjo3 on Twitter knows that we give the accordion a rare old ribbon all of the time. Yeah, accordions and bagpipes. I like your mug, Shane.
Thanks, Andrew.
So, tell us what you're up to at the moment.
I'm drinking tea pretty much all day long. There isn't a whole lot. There isn't a whole lot else to do. I've cleaned the office and the house maybe 40, 50 times at this stage.
Yeah.
We clean this place in most of the country, I'd say.
So you're teaching at the moment, yeah?
I'm teaching high school, secondary school here in Ireland at the moment, yes. So we're doing a bit of work online for that stuff as well. But coming up with new innovative ways to teach.
And is there much pressure? Do you have kids for like the leaving cert for the final exam kind of stuff?
I've leaving certs and junior certs. I'm probably a little lucky that I had the courses finished with the leaving certs and junior certs before we broke up. So I'm probably lucky there because they're left doing practice and stuff. But nightmare for some of them in other boats that haven't stuff finished, or even just for them worrying about stuff in general. Like, so it's kind of it's unprecedented times, I suppose.
Yeah. Are you doing online classes? Is that part of it?
We've got online stuff. Yeah, we've all the different classes. I think most schools are kind of doing their own way of doing it. We've got this online classes things as well, so we're kind of sending videos and questions back and forth. It's fine, like it's things.
So tell us about Socks in the Frying Pan. Now, a lot of people that are watching obviously will know you from Milwaukee Irish Festival and Dublin Irish Festival, but we do have some wee Banjo 3 fans that wouldn't be that familiar maybe with the Irish Festival scene. So give us a bit of background of what you've been up to.
We're on the go maybe 10 years. We've been travelling stateside kind of as a full-time entity for 6 or 7 years now. At this stage, the years kind of start to blend together after a while. It's myself, my brother, me on accordion, my brother on fiddle, and a friend of ours, Neil on coin, on guitar, and the three of us sing as well. I think that's one of the things people like. So we've been at it a long time, gone all over the place. 46 states done, I think.
Oh yeah? What are you missing? I bet you Hawaii is one of them, is it?
Hawaii is one of them, yeah. Alaska is not, but we did.
Have you played Alaska, have you?
Alaska, yeah, that was cool. We did that a couple of years ago. Hawaii, I think one of the Dakotas, and not Kentucky, one of the other southern states, Louisiana, I think, is the last one.
That's cool. I haven't done a head count on how many states we Banjo 3 have played. It's not 46 because we definitely haven't been to any of the Dakotas or Hawaii or a number of others. We do.
More of a waiting game, isn't it?
What's that?
Kind of more of a waiting game, you know, you get there eventually. Like.
Yeah. Alaska was wonderful. We were there in October.
Alaska was cool.
Discovered that it's insanely expensive to ship merchandise to Alaska.
Oh really?
That was the learning curve. Yeah.
We smuggled everything in, I think.
So,
great.
What's have you summer touring plans?
Yeah, we summer touring plans. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 festivals to get up to again this year. Some of the classics and a couple we haven't been to for a couple of years, so we're definitely looking forward to that. I suppose everything's up in the air a bit at the moment, but we're still looking forward to hopefully getting over there.
Yeah, we're more than ourselves.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know one of the questions that people ask us an awful lot is, what's the difference between Irish audiences and American audiences? So, apart from Irish audiences being full of cute whores, what's your experience of that?
A couple of funny differences. I think the American audiences love to get engaged and love to be involved straight away. The Irish crowds are a bit more reserved. Thanks for leaving this one to me, anyway, by the way. I find the funny thing is that if there was 500 seats in a place, and when the first 100 people come in Ireland, they're going to sit down the back because that's what Irish people do. And in America, people sit right up the front because they see it. And the American audiences are a little bit more ready to have fun with stuff, and they're a bit more ready to let themselves go. Irish audiences might take a little bit of time to warm into it, but.
Have you ever played Dolan's in Limerick?
Yeah.
We played Dolan's a few years ago, the upstairs venue, and there's a kind of a balcony that goes around the whole venue, and it's really dark underneath the balcony.
Yeah.
And so most of the audience sat where we couldn't see them, in the dark. Right?
Yeah.
And so Dave is about to do a song, and he says, right, does anyone there fancy doing singing? And there was almost total silence apart from one old lady way down the back who goes, "Alright, Jesus, sure, we paid in to hear you sing."
He's a brave man looking for volunteers to sing. Especially in an Irish crowd as well.
Yeah, that kind of summed it up, you know.
Yeah. We tell her, well, don't ask for, don't put it out there for people to sing themselves because, you know.
Yeah.
You might get off the stage then.
Yeah. So, any plans for new music or a new album?
We had the live album last year. It's our first time doing a live album. was actually probably one that we're most happy with. With no immediate plans, we're kind of all tipping away at our own things at the moment. Elon just brought out his solo album as well a few months ago. So in the last year, there's kind of been 2 new ones, and I mean it's probably a good time for recording new stuff or writing new stuff. But when we're all kind of in social isolation away from each other, it's kind of maybe a little bit harder. So I suppose there's always plans for new stuff, but it's, at the moment just plans. We're just kind of enjoying it at the moment.
And have you much touring outside of the US and Ireland?
There's 2 weeks in Germany. 2 weeks in Germany. There's a couple of gigs in France, a couple of gigs in Switzerland, a couple of gigs in. Let's see, I have to do this in order now. Hopefully, a bit of an Irish tour for the years out. Sure, there was a big March tour in the States there as well, which was after being cut short, unfortunately.
So Kathy Richardson is wondering how come you're saying the Americans aren't reserved, Shane? Quite a pointed question, I feel.
The fact that she asked the question at all just kind of really shows that, doesn't it?
And I'm pretty sure that's the Kansas City Brigade anyway, so they're definitely a lot wilder even than your normal wild American.
Kansas is great. We play in Winfield, Kansas a lot every year, so that's a great venue. So the Kansas people are great. Yeah,
we've never played that festival. It's fantastic.
Great festival, yeah.
But you've done Kansas City Irish Festival a bunch of times as well, right?
That's done as well, yeah. Really good festival.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting back to that this year. Let me see. Saw socks at the Cedar Cultural Centre. That's Joseph Hoopman. When did you play that? Was that on this last tour?
I couldn't tell you. Was that this last one, or was that?
Was that the B team?
That was the B team, I say. Yeah.
There's like summer socks and winter socks, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
I much prefer the summer socks myself. Now, I have to say.
Look, everyone prefers summer, what can I say?
Fair play to you, Shane. So, have you any news for me? That's the main question.
I've been learning how to juggle in it, and unfortunately, I'm not quite at this stage where I can show you. I've got. I think my progress so far. I've got 1 ball. I'm working up to 2, but maybe I can join you on a live stream next week, and we'll.
This feels very much like a TikTok video that ourselves and Talis tried to make in Japan in December.
Oh, I didn't see it.
No, you didn't, because it wasn't suitable for human consumption. I think that's why.
Okay.
It deteriorated from juggling into throwing things at people very quickly. Yeah, but that's Scottish people, you see. They can't take any competition at all.
No. Just a nice casual racism.
Just trying to be as complicated as I possibly can. I'm hoping everybody can hear me okay, or hear us okay. This is new technology, as the fella says.
Just be us having a great chat. Happy out.
Yeah, I know. There's Douglas Lloyd says hello, Dublin, Ohio. That's it. Look, Shane, I might let you go, unless you want to play us a tune in the accordion before you go.
I was going to play one of the banjo in there, but
will you?
No, I don't have a banjo either. Sorry.
Oh my God! A speaker that tries to play the banjo.
Speaker does, yeah. It's not bad. He's improving, especially. By the time this social isolation comes out, he's going to write a book on how to get disqualified from the flail and how to win an All-Ireland flail.
That's very easy. Getting disqualified is very easy.
Yeah.
Because I was a master at that, and then Martin Howley was a master at winning the flail. So between the two of us, we had it carved up fairly well.
I can imagine, It was like good cop, bad cop thing inside there.
My mum came into the senior banjo competition one year, and I had just finished playing. And I had played 3 fairly normal tunes, and then I played the contradiction as the reel. And I did all of the mad, I ran out of frets kind of thing, you see. And so my mum tells a story. She came into the competition and she sat down, and the woman beside her said, "Oh, you just missed the last fella. He played 3 beautiful tunes, and then he made an absolute idiot of the reel." And Mum goes, "Which fella?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, that's my lad." So I got disqualified.
Oh, did you actually for that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But most people remember that I got disqualified for playing a mad reel than they do for any of the times I won it. So
you're winning it,
that's what I'm going with. That's quite a long time ago now. It wasn't yesterday or the year before.
Yeah, be famous, be infamous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Down in it.
We'll let you go, Shane. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Talk to you soon. All right. Let's just switch back to this. Ooh, God, that's not very nice, is it? Live stream. That should be a little bit better. Like I said, we're trying to figure out all of the technology. All right, let's go and have a look. Who's saying hello? Rex from Ohio. Hi, guys. Volume is pretty hard to hear. I'm not 100% sure how to help that. Like I said, I will do better for next time. Advanced audio properties, maybe that's it. No, I have no idea. If Ferdal is online, he might help me out. Hello from Kentucky, Laurie Nickel. Well, you're not from Kentucky, that's Ohio. I'm trying to keep track of as many of the... I know the picture is funky, yes. There we go, that should be much better. It's all a bit mental. I'm using a software called OBS, which allows me to stream and capture FaceTime video as well. You missed why I was disqualified. I played 3 normal tunes, and so you have to play, well, I should, like, in Ireland we have these competitions called the Fleadh Cheoil, which means music festival. And kids will go in. I started competing when I was 10, and I won the All-Ireland when I was 11. I won it again, I think, when I was like 14 and 16. And then I started to be a little bit of a clown or a rebel without a clue. And so the senior to win in the over 18 would have been the final kind of medal to have gotten, but I was trying to prove a point, and so I would play ridiculous tunes that wouldn't be even remotely in the Irish tradition, and so I got disqualified a couple of years in a row. But that last year that I disqualified was pretty epic. I played a Scottish tune that involved way more notes than should be in an Irish tune, and quite famously was disqualified. I'm very proud of it, and to make no apologies. And that's why we wrote a book, the Wee Banjo 3 Guide to winning banjo competitions and being disqualified from banjo competitions, because Martin, who's in the band as well, was a master at winning. He basically won every single time that he entered, he won it. So I don't know whether he has 6 or 7 All-Ireland titles, because he was able to not be a rebellious Aegis like I was. But when you put the two of us together, then you kind of get a nice balance. I think that's largely the idea. So I'm going to try somebody else on FaceTime, if you just bear with me here. Let's see if we can get an answer. All right.
Hey there.
Hello, Frank. Just bear with me 1 second, because I need to find you, and then I need to put you on the screen.
Like put me on the screen.
On the screen. People want to see it.
Alright, I kind of set up a neat background, so I shouldn't look all that boring.
You're going to look awesome. All right, and I just need to pop you on to the actual screen so people can see it. Just bear with me a minute for all the
Who else
craziness.
is joining us?
It's just you and me right now, Frank.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. How you doing?
Oh, the world is going to end as we know it.
Right, so for people who don't know, which would be not many at this stage, this is our sound engineer, Frank Marchand, lives in Maryland, or as the Irish people like to call it, Maryland. And Frank is also known as the Honey Badger, previously known as the Punisher. I have to say that I thought the Honey Badger was a nice cuddly thing, but it turns out that that's not necessarily the case.
Well, not if you go online and watch some of the YouTube stuff now.
I'm not allowed on YouTube, I've been banned.
Huh, why, is that too much mind suck? Well, TikTok is way better.
Yeah. So Frank has been our sound engineer on the road and our studio sound engineer for Haven and our last live album for about 6 years now, Frank, is that right?
I think it's actually 7 or 8, I'm not sure.
Yeah, since we met in DC at a charity gig in the Dubliner pub a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a Culture Ireland thing at Dubliner on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
On like a day night.
Yeah. Now I need to point out something that night you were rocking the sound on an iPad. Frank is allergic to iPads.
Well, no, they're allergic to me.
Do tell us more, Frank.
Well, it seems to me that technology should make your life better, and in this situation, my fingers are too fat and stupid for an iPad, and wENDA's are in a very involved band when we do a live show, and my son would call it lag or latency if you're doing battle on your computer and you do a move and nothing happens. Well, in the world of music, that's not so fun if you do a fader move and nothing happens.
I get that.
Or if the thing completely locks up and you can just not do anything, which is what happens from time to time. So.
Okay, so no iPads, please.
No, only for games.
Okay. I wish you were here right now because there are a couple of comments to say that I need louder sound from you. I have no idea how to do it.
Louder sound for me? Is this better this way?
Yeah, that's
I
better.
turn. Well, hold on, okay. It's on my phone. Do I turn my phone volume up? Is that
No,
the way it's working?
that's awesome. Just a little bit closer, and I think we're good.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Project.
So you're sitting in your studio in
In Maribel, yes.
what's the name of the town again? Spring.
I live in a town called Odenton. My studio's in a town called Millersville, which is both about 5 or 10 minutes away from Annapolis.
Okay. Awesome.
Or 20 minutes from DC or 20 minutes from Baltimore, depending on traffic.
Okay. Just going to pop you up here for a second, Frank. I'm going to move you around. I'm trying to figure out some of
Is
this.
the audio better?
Yeah,
Can
you
understand
just tell me a story.
a story.
Yeah.
Oof, like what kind of story?
I don't know. So what are you working on right now?
Cynthia.
Oh yeah?
There you go. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, honestly, the guys were supposed to come in here tomorrow to finish background vocals, but because of the COVID-19 virus, I suggested that it not be a good idea because there are people all around us in Maryland now. It's starting to spread pretty badly, and I didn't think it would be a smart choice considering the circumstances. So we just have one day left of tracking and some overdubs, but I'm going to start mixing the record, and it's a wonderful album. So.
Awesome. Is that the only thing you're working on at the moment, or have you got anything else?
Oh no, what did I do? I finished a jazz record yesterday. I finished this crazy guy named Lee Chapman. He did an album that sounds like something off of Broadway where he tells stories and old folky stuff. And then I'm going to do a really heavy record with another band called Baracho. And then from what I understand, we might be streaming some more wENDA's 3 shows.
That's the
I
plan.
just got an email about today.
Yes. Yeah. So how do you do you have to calibrate your brain differently to each of those? Because that's quite a wide range of sound, from jazz to heavy metal.
Oh, absolutely. The hardest part is it's just like going into a restaurant with a really good buffet. You don't want to eat all the food all at once because your taste buds would be overwhelmed. So it's kind of nice to concentrate on one style of food at a time. So when it comes to mixing or stylistically working on an album, it's very important to have space and distance sometimes between the projects, or your ears become numb to certain things. And with some kind of music, you have to be in a different headspace to really do justice to the artist. So it's hard to jump around, but it's gotten a lot better with instant recall on computers now. So I can work on 6 or 7 different projects and still stay relative to the project when I pull it up because it's where I left it last.
Okay.
In that regard.
So how did you get into sound engineering? Because you're at it quite a while.
Typical story in the late 70s, where I was in a band in high school, and we decided we wanted to do our own music and record it, and we went into a studio not too far from here, and the light bulb went off. At that point, I was like, wow, this recording stuff is pretty cool, because I grew up a military brat and I lived all over the world, so I could pretty much place where I grew up by what songs were on the radio. So back then, this is even before video games, and pictures were still black and white. There were no video games or distractions, so all there was music and what came out of the radio and what came out of the speakers. And when I got done with our first studio session, it really, really piqued my interest to want to go back to do that. So thank God my dad said, well, we don't really want you to not go to college, so go to college. And when I came out of school, I was still playing in bands and starting to do live sound for my friends' bands because I hadn't played that much in a band because I was away at school. And in the 80s, I was doing live sound. There were a lot of really good bars in the Washington, D.C. area. And at some point, I wanted to go to recording school, and I went through the phone book to try and get a gig in a studio first. And I went through every letter saying, do you have need for an intern? Can I sweep floors? And they were like, what experience do you have? And I'm like, I have none. So I went through the whole phone book and ended up with the letter W. And the letter W was this place called Washington Professional Systems, which was the sister to a very, very famous retail outlet here in D.C. called Chuck Levin's. Chuck Levin's was the largest mom-and-pop music store in the country. And Robert Levin had started this Washington Professional System. And it turned out that they needed an assistant for a very famous sound guy by the name of Greg Bluekins, who is blind. He is essentially my audio mentor because he has back hearing that I couldn't even fathom the stuff that he could hear, and he taught me a lot about how I hear sound. So I got a job working with him for a couple of years, and in the meantime, I tried to go to recording school, and Full Sail was the only place to go that I knew of, and their administration department was terrible. So I stayed at Washington Professionals for a while, and it turned out that this was the place to go and buy all of the top grade recording items, like microphones, tape machines, because this was in the tail end of the 80s, so it was still all tape based. So on weekends, I would get to go deliver equipment to all the studios around town, and that's how I got my in at a now defunct place, although it's being run by a guy named Jay from Jawbox in Baltimore. It was called Oz Studio, and I started to engineer there because I was on the very beginning of their construction and got in to start to do recording on the weekends and be around Greg Bluekins on the weekdays. So I started to learn about the process, being very hands-on. And that was in 1990, I guess. So at that point, I was working 40 hours a week in the showroom and then 50 hours a week on weekends. So doing live sound and recording, and that's when I really put full time.
Okay.
More or less. No school, ever. School of hard rock.
That was the short answer, clearly.
Yes. Well, it was evolution at its best.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's probably nice to say at this point how many times when we're playing live, be it at bluegrass festivals or in theaters or wherever we go, that we'll rock up. You know, you've designed an amazing sound system for us so that when we can get on and off stage in about 4.5 minutes flat and we're ready and we're ready to go. But how many times we get complimented that we've had the best live sound at the festival or the best live sound that anyone has ever heard in a tent, which are notoriously difficult to mix. We get a huge amount of compliments about that, and so thank you.
Well, I think it was that infamous tent gig in Dayton that drove us to our in-ear monitor system when Mr. Wu showed up for the whole set. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Wu is our code name for feedback, where everything goes woo, 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 which unfortunately with really resonant instruments like banjos, Mr. Wu is friends with banjos when it comes to monitors.
Yeah, Mr. Wu is on the stage.
Yes, he was on the stage, and I think that later that day or the day after, we set up in a conference room and got the whole in-ear system together in a hotel room before we used it that day. And the difference was stunning.
That was the day that we had done a sound check, and then when we went on stage, the desk had collapsed, and we went on stage and there was nothing, and it was dying.
There was nothing but Mr. Wu, that's for sure.
Yeah, I remember that. That was quite a stress. And I'm pretty confident that I spent the 2 hours before that show on my hands and knees counting t-shirts in about 104 degrees and nearly crying when I realized we had 9 different styles in God knows how many sizes, and they were all in one massive box.
Well, that's We Banjo 3 retail at its finest.
let the chaos ensue.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we could talk hours and hours about merchandising, that's for sure.
We could indeed, yeah, we could indeed.
So what are you doing on your time off?
It's amazing how fast the days go when you don't get out of bed till 10 a.m. because I've been staying up like way late watching TV, which I don't even know why. And we have a dog, and you know my son Matthew is here, so we go out for walks and you know do a bit of jigsaw, and he's doing all sorts of different things every day. And suddenly it's 6 o'clock in the evening and it's time to make dinner. And but like largely when I'm off tour, this is what I do anyway. So it's not vastly different. The only things that I kind of miss out on now is just meeting a couple of friends for coffee, which I would do like literally every day of the week, and go to the gym. And it's kind of comical because I have two 2-pound dumbbells and one dumbbell that's 25 pounds. I don't have a match for the heavy one. So
Because if you overwork yourself, you only make right-hand turns.
yeah, I'm gonna have one enormous pec on one side and then this total weedy side on the other.
Well, the thing that I find amazing about when we are on break, although I'm usually here in the studio, is just the joy in cooking and doing everyday stuff.
Mm.
You know, the things, although we are, for those of you guys who don't know, we generally spend our time 50% between Airbnbs and hotels when we're on tour. And believe me, we've stayed in some very crazy Airbnbs, but it gives us the ability to kind of ground ourselves for at least 3 or 4 days where we can cook meals and do wash and at least pretend we're at home as opposed to being in the land of hotels and antiseptic, you know, impersonal living, so to speak.
What's your famous Airbnb dish, Frank?
Dish?
The one you cook.
Well, let's see. Was it last winter? We were in, where were we? A lake in Albany, New York, and it was 8 inches of snow peak. I decided I wanted to cook Hawaiian chicken for everybody. Because as I grew up as a kid in Hawaii, we would sell chicken to raise money for my baseball team to go and play other teams on different islands. So it's like 10 degrees out, and I'm out there in flip-flops, cooking in the gas grill that they had supplied chicken for everybody. And then I've been known to cook bacon in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah, your bacon method. I learned a lot on this last tour about how to cook a lot of bacon in a very small pan.
Well, bacon is your friend.
Yeah. I'm not 100% convinced to cooking the egg in the bacon grease. An acquired taste. It
depends how visual you are.
It tastes amazing. It's my arteries just ache as soon as I think about it.
What was that bacon dish you turned me on to in Cork?
Ooh, bacon and cabbage.
Yes.
Real bacon, not corned beef and.
Oh yes, that was the best Irish dish I've ever had, hands down, bar.
Yeah, now bacon and cabbage is a favourite of mine, but that was the best bacon and cabbage I've ever eaten. That was insanely good. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but that was absolutely top drawer.
Yes, I think we were the youngest people in there with all the old ladies around us having tea.
Yeah. Well, I hope that place survives and we can go back sometime.
Are people feeling the crunch from, are pubs closed and public places closed in Ireland?
Yep, pubs closed a week ago. The only thing that's open now, it's pretty much the same worldwide, is shops and essential services like the bank and the post office and farmer supplies, and that's it really. I was very excited today. I had to go and buy 2 solid tires for my wheelbarrow because I punctured one of the useless ones that came with it. So it's amazing the things that'll make you excited and happy. I'm like, woohoo, I have solid rubber tires.
Dude, my wife spent 2 hours in line trying to check out from the grocery store on Sunday. Because they had a 6-foot moratorium, or whatever you want to call it, law in hand where you couldn't be within 6 feet of another cart.
Yeah, that's the same here as well.
So,
Weird old times, Frank.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, fingers crossed we get through it, and I don't know. I know we have Romp booked in for June, and it'd be awesome if we could get out to do that. That's one of the festivals where I remember the sound engineers complimenting you on the best sound that they ever had at Romp.
Despite the heat. Just to give you you guys in Ireland, how hot it was? What would it have been? Like 50 degrees Celsius?
Over 40.
Oh my God, it was so hot, even standing in front of a fan, full blown, it didn't matter. It was so hot.
Yeah,
God.
yeah. That was brutal.
That was the day you hung out and talked with Rihanna Giddens for a minute.
Yeah, for about an hour.
About the history of the banjo.
Yeah. She asked me what my knowledge of the history of the banjo was, and I told her in about 7 sentences, and then she gave out to me for an hour. She's highly educational in terms of, because the history of the banjo, as far as I would have known it growing up and hearing it from the likes of Mick Maloney and so on and so forth, as she pointed out, is a very whitened history of the banjo, which kind of stands to reason that up until now that would be the case. But it didn't fully take into account really the influence that black musicians had on the banjo becoming what it is right now. And the kind of the general idea or the general story is that it was an Irish guy who put the 5th string on the banjo. But as Rhiannon pointed out to me, there's banjos in Africa that, you know, predate any modern instrument that has 5 strings. So it's just that kind of nice
I got a
story.
question for you since you're a historian. Did the banjo come from the berimbau?
I don't know what the berimbau is.
Alright, berimbau is essentially a gourd with a long stick on it and one string.
Something like that, yeah. They have an instrument called a banjar, and it has like in different parts of Africa there are various instruments that are quite similar, and they have different names: banjar, banjo, tango, and the history that I understand from it is that through slavery those instruments were brought to the United States and then developed over time, often with the influence of Irish musicians and Irish immigrants that had come over from Ireland, some of them as indentured workers, as they say. It all gets quite controversial now because the definition of what an indentured worker is as opposed to a slave, vice versa. So the kind of terminology around it now is a little bit confused as historians look at it again. But basically there was a convergence of African and Irish and Scottish musicians, and out of that melting pot came old-time music, and then onwards from that to bluegrass music. I guess what was left out of the discussion, really until Rhiannon Giddens started talking about it, was the influence of the black musicians on bluegrass music, which obviously would be seen very much as a white American, style of music. So, but it was a fascinating conversation. Would definitely love to do some music with her at some stage. We've talked about it, and fingers crossed we'll be able to make it happen. I think we'd have a lot musically to say, given the history of both Ireland and African musicians or black American musicians.
Well, wasn't her last record recorded in Ireland?
I don't know that.
Or well, her significant other is from Ireland? Because there are a lot of very Irish songs on that record.
Yeah, her kids live in Limerick and go to a Gael school. They go to a school that's done through the Irish language.
Huh. Well, they're going to have to watch out for the way Fergal drives on the road.
That didn't, I mean, you're a master driver, Frank, and I think Fergal scares you.
Oh no. The only way Fergal knows he's on the road correctly is if he hears the weeds hitting the left side view mirror at 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
On a road with no lines.
That's done so that blind people can drive home in Ireland. They just hit the side of the car off the verge and they hear the weeds clacking and they know they're okay.
Oh, right, what is it? Stop signs are merely a suggestion, is that it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and speed limits are a goal, not a suggestion.
So is this a series of stuff you guys are doing on Facebook?
Yeah.
I'm the worst at Facebook, I apologize.
So Martin is on Instagram on a Monday. Monday, Mando, Martin, something like that. And then Dave is doing coffee chats on Instagram on a Tuesday.
Right.
I'm here on a Wednesday, and then Fergal is doing a fiddle thing live on Facebook on Fridays.
Okay.
Which I've no doubt will involve him being in some sort of homemade swing, playing the fiddle in the forest that's around his house.
We're chopping wood as well, he's playing.
Yeah, he's going to hew a fiddle out of a solid tree that he's just knocked down prior to the live stream.
Yeah.
And then,
so are you watching, are any questions coming in that anybody want to ask about us?
there's lots of people want the huli huli chicken.
The recipe?
Yeah.
Recipe's easy. Mustard, lemon pepper, vegetable oil, and loads of pickle juice. Done to taste.
That sounds.
And huli in Hawaiian means turn a lot. So generally what you do is cook the chicken until about the last 3 or 4 turns, and then put the sauce on. And there's Hawaiian chicken.
Well, we might print it out or type it up, Frank, and put it on the Facebook page or on Instagram for later.
In fact, even with as cold as it's been here, I had huli chicken 3 nights ago.
Was it cold again?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's cold here. It's typical Scottish-Irish weather here in Maryland. It's cold and rainy.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the way springtime always is.
All right. Listen, I'm going to let you go. Get back to mixing Scythian and making them sound awesome.
Good deal. Well, thanks for, what is this, FaceTime? I don't know what this is.
FaceTime on Facebook, Frank. This is it's a brand. It's not TikTok. That's all you need to know.
That's okay. Well, I don't have any cats, so I can't make a funny cat video.
If it was TikTok, we'd be trying to do a dance simultaneously.
That's right.
Yeah.
To some, what's the latest one? The weekend challenge.
Is that,
With Ben, you have to have 3 people to dance and do it. It's horrible.
that sounds horrible.
Yes, it's bad. All right.
All right, my friend.
Say hey to your son and tell him I'll be there to do the next puzzle.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank.
Cheers.
Well, there you go. The wonderful Frank Marchand. How about you two sing a duet? God, can you imagine anything more terrible? Me and Frank singing a duet. Matthew, do you want to say hello? I was trying to get my son Matthew to see would he come. Jill, do you want to say hello? No? Alright, I have one more phone call that I'm going to do. Just bear with me. I'm on multiple screens right now. Here we go. A wENDA's 3 travel cookbook. That would be a great idea. So there will be another banjo bus.
Greetings, Brendan.
Alright, now just bear with me a second because I have to try and figure out how to get you on so we can see you. That's not where I know the screen has gone mental. Don't panic. I know what I'm doing.
Keep our t-shirt, that's the best.
I know what I'm doing, I promise. Alright, here we go. Oh, you're in landscape mode. Any chance you can flip the phone the other way around, Kristen? Just so I can get you on the screen.
Did you see Dan's Keybar t-shirt?
We're still in Frank.
Yes.
Alright, now we
That's
are.
good. Yeah, so you might want to move it over there. That's fine.
Alright, let's go. That's 2 of you, that's not good. There we are.
That work.
Look at that. So this is Dan and Kristen from True North.
Had to turn you up, sorry.
That's okay.
Other side.
So we're live in.
It's upside down.
Yeah, it's still on top.
You're on the.
It's also upside down.
You're the right way around on my screen, so that's good.
All right, hang on.
Is it the way?
Yeah, it is. It's blocked for the camera. Sorry, you're too.
How's that?
Yeah, you're good.
There, we couldn't hear you, so.
I
sorry.
can see you look lovely. So this is my friends Christian Granger and Dan Wetzel from a band called Christian Granger and True North from Salem, Oregon. And so these guys have played with us in Portland on a number of occasions when we've been there. I am making a hames of this, so just bear with me. Trying to get more of you in the screen. There we are. So, how's everything in Oregon?
Well, it's good, though I think today we were technically supposed to be playing Limerick, Ireland, and then two nights away we'd be playing at Eve's place in County Cork, I think. And so we love our home, but we were excited about going to see our friends and fans in Ireland again. So
Yeah, because you were literally supposed to be in Ireland right now.
yes,
Yeah.
right now
Yeah.
we were camping out in your backyard. I don't know if you realized that was a plan.
That was fine. I mean, if you guys had ended up having to lock down in my house, that would have been awesome. I would have been completely okay with that.
We were totally down with that idea.
Yeah, because the shed it's not that cold this time of year. You'd have been fine.
That's right. Well, Matthew's got a bunk bed. I mean, we could spoon.
Matthew's very protective about his bunk bed, I have to say.
Oh, fine. Well, that's understandable.
Yeah, I have been trying to get him to come on screen and just say a quick hello, but he's not up for it at the moment, so.
Well, tell him hi for us.
Yeah, well, of course we will. So, so you guys are just hunkered down in Salem, Oregon?
We are. It's beautiful. The weather's beautiful. Everything's blossoming. It's a great time of year to be trapped in Salem, but nonetheless, we are disappointed about our trip. So.
And so I've been to your house, and it's an absolutely beautiful part of the world. There's no doubt about that.
Thank you.
So do you fancy singing us a song?
Well, sure, if you like. I mean, we've got our instruments in tune and everything.
Wow, that's a first.
I know. Hey, we're not playing the banjo, right?
You're obviously far more talented than me.
It's impossible to tune. I don't think it's ever been in tune ever in the history of the banjo.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be.
That's right. That's the tangy part of banjo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So do you have a request, or do you want us to just pick one?
I want you to pick something and tell us what it is.
Okay. Woody Guthrie, who I assume you and your followers remember Woody Guthrie, he's a great songwriter activist.
Mm-hmm.
And he said a folk singer's job is to comfort disturbed people and disturb comfortable. So when one of the other wonderful songwriter activists, Neil Young, said to pay attention to what's happening on the U.S.-Mexico border and make songs about it, about the children taken from their parents and kept in detention, I wrote this song called Ghost of Abuelito. And Abuelito in Spanish means grandpa. It's the diminutive of grandfather. And abuelo is grandfather, the formal term. So those are the two Spanish words you'll hear in it. But it's called The Ghost of Abuelito. It will be on our new album coming out here in the next few weeks. And it goes like this. Tell my brother he's 11. I'm old, but I am 7. Old enough to remember home. The sound of gunfire in the night, an ordinary part of life, at least the only life I've ever known. You refuse to cry
Wonderful.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Yeah, you sent me that song about, must have been 6 weeks ago or something. And I just thought the lyrics are fabulous. It's a beautiful song.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
So you get to play at all?
say again?
Do you get to play at all? Are you going to play anything?
God, no. Nobody wants to hear solo banjo. Are you joking?
That's not true.
No, I need the rest of the band to cover up the majority of the banjo sound, and then just the little bits come out. And I wear sunglasses and just kind of move side to side slowly, and it all just seems to work.
It totally does. It's
Iceman.
Yeah, it's got that Hell's Angels quality that you've been going for.
Yeah, rebel without a clue, as I've been talking about. Yeah.
Did you notice my Galway t-shirt?
Keys Bar, yeah. I mean, I cut my teeth at the Keys Bar. Played there for. Used to do a lot of gigs there, especially the late night ones. They had these midnight gigs that would go from midnight to about 2 a.m. We had a band called Black Oak, and I can't tell you what it was called in town because it wasn't. Anyway, lots of people got fired out of the band. I didn't fire anyone, and in the end I got fired. And I was like, how am I getting fired out of my band? This doesn't make any sense. But it was a lot of fun for a lot of years. But that was back.
Your first band?
That was my first band. Yeah, I was about 18 or 19. I went for a couple of years. I used to break an awful lot of strings. That's what I remember most about that period of my life. A lot of teenage angst coming out on the banjo. So I break about 25 strings every week, which is a lot of strings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So after many, many years of therapy, I don't break strings at all anymore.
You've figured it out.
Just need lots more. It's a good pub, yeah. For people who don't know that pub, the entire inside was taken from a church or multiple churches, I believe, in the Netherlands, and they brought it over, and so it looks quite church-like on the inside.
Wow, it is a really cool looking interior. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All the stained glass.
Yeah. I mean, being in the carpentry business, sort of, Dan, you would have been interested in that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not even sort of. He definitely
It's
was
beautiful.
carpentry
One of my
business.
favorite things about that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Staring at all that
Yeah,
interior architecture.
it does. It looks amazing. Yeah. So, do you want to sing another song?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to pick one? You want us to just go ahead and
No, you do
put
one.
it on the jukebox, see what comes out? Okay.
Yeah, do one you like.
We're gonna have to pre-hit.
I'd like to do it.
You can make one of our songs sound amazing. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's right. I'm sure David would love that. David's a beautiful voice. Okay, this one's called Dorstein, and I wrote it. It's technically a family story.
I love this song.
Okay.
Yeah.
You see both of us, okay?
Can you see Dan? More importantly, can you see Dan?
No, it's
Okay.
You both look fabulous.
My name is Dorstein. I was born in 1917. I turned 90 years old today. Or it could have been yesterday. I really couldn't say. My mother named Virgin grace. See an ordinary life, there's no disgrace. Direct alert, the party like that. Go on to roll the do without the cowboy hat. Maybe then I'd see it all differently. And me, Doris Dean, coming. Doris Dean, coming.
Beautiful.
There you go.
Wonderful.
Story of my grandma.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. They changed her name after she was born to name her after this trick rider who came into this old Wild West show with a foot on each horse and a spangly headdress and all that riding into the ring. And the ringmaster said, "And on, entering the show now, Doris Dean." And she came riding in, and my great grandmother said to my great grandfather, "That's it, we're changing her name."
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story. That's wonderful. I'm just thinking, I'm sitting in the room where you did a house concert. Is that a year ago?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. It was a year ago, and I had no voice.
I was going to say, infamously, the laryngitis had just kicked in, yeah.
I know. I was really looking forward to that show, and of course I totally blew it. But
I mean, there's a level of irony that I get to hear that song with you singing it in this room, but you're on the far side of the world.
right. Unfortunately, all the nice people you assembled for that show probably may or may not be listening to us right now. But my apologies.
Well, that was wonderful. Guys, thank you very much for joining in. Really appreciate it. It's great to see you guys. Yeah.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Give my best to Julian and Matthew.
Well, of course. Stay safe and well. We'll see you on the other side of all of this.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, folks. That is it. Thanks for tuning in. I know there's a ton of comments. It's really hard to get to all of them. So that was Kristen Granger and Dan Wetzel, and they have a band called True North out of Portland, Oregon, and they're fabulous. Beautiful people and wonderful singers, so do check them out. Tune in tomorrow. There's some Throwback Thursday videos, and then Friday Fergal has a Fiddlin' Friday hour, which is also at 12 noon Central Time, 5 p.m. Irish time. So I know he'd love to see you all online. So thanks everybody for listening. Really appreciate it. Hope you're all safe and well, and we'll see you back hopefully at a concert very soon when all of this is over. And until then, from Galway, have a nice day. I'm done.
Great. How are you listening?
Not too bad.
Who are you talking to?
I was talking, that was Kristen and Dan, Matthew.